Welcome to Mathletes. I'm Gori, and today we'll be taking a look at working with time. I'll be doing every exam question ever asked in the HSC Standard 1 Maths over the last 5 years. So grab a pen and let's get started.
HSC Maths Standard 1, Working with Time. Question 18. Ramon took 1.25 hours to travel the length of a freeway. The length of the freeway is 100 kilometers. Ramon's total travel time was made up of 20 minutes to travel to the start of the freeway, the time taken to travel the length of the freeway, 35 minutes after exiting the freeway to get to his destination. What was the total time Ramon spent traveling? Give your answers in hours and minutes. All right, so we know that the time taken to travel the length of the freeway was 1.25 hours. So 1.25 hours is this bit. We're going to need to add it to this 20 minutes and this 35 minutes. So we're going to need to convert the 1.25 hours into minutes. So 1.25 hours multiplied by 60 gives us what that looks like in minutes. So putting that in our calculators, 1.25 times 60 equals 75. And that's going to be minutes. All right, so we're going to need to add it to the other two. So 20 minutes plus 75 minutes plus 35 minutes. Let's put that into our calculator again. And there we go. Oh. So 75 plus 20 plus 35 equals 130 minutes. Now, it asked for our answer to be given in hours and minutes. So we need to convert this back from just minutes into hours and minutes. We know that each hour is 60 minutes, so 120 minutes is going to be 2 hours. And then we have 10 minutes left over at the end. So it's going to be 2 hours and 10 minutes. Great, moving on to part B. What was Ramon's average speed on the freeway? So we know that speed is equal to distance over time. And we know that the distance of the freeway is 100 kilometers, so we can write 100 kilometers here. And the time it took him to travel that distance was 1.25 hours. 1.25. I'm going to write in the kilometers and the hours here. Now, generally, in terms of speed, we write that in kilometers per hour. So we have 1.25 hours. We don't have 1 hour. So to convert that to 1, we divide the bottom by 1.25, and we divide the top by 1.25. Right? Whatever we do to the bottom of the fraction, we have to do to the top. All right, so going back to our calculator, it's 100 divided by 1.25, which is equal to 80 kilometers at the top. And then 1.25 divided by 1.25 is just 1 hour at the bottom. So his speed, in other words, is, it's 80 kilometers per hour. That's our answer. Indeed, we get 80 kilometers per hour and 2 hours and 10 minutes. Okay, question 22. The timetable shows an airline schedule in 24-hour time for a flight from town A to town B. When it is 10 a.m. in town A, the time in town B is 9 a.m. on the same day. So we have town A, actually this is going to be town B, and this is town A. And it's, it's 10 a.m. in town A, and in town B, it's 9 a.m. Right? So there's a 1 hour time difference between the two of them. How long does the flight take to travel from town A to town B? All right, so if we just look at the difference in these two times, it's going to take 1 hour and 37 minutes 1 hour and 37 minutes to travel from town A to town B, but we have to add on this 1 hour time difference. So if we're going from town A to town B, we're actually going back in time by 1 hour. We're losing an hour. So this 1 hour and 37 minutes, we're arriving in town B and it's local time in town B. So we have to add on that extra hour that we had in flight time, which isn't taken into account with town B's time. So it's 1 hour and 37 minutes plus 1 hour. So the total travel time, it's going to equal 2 hours and 37 minutes. There we go, 2 hours and 37 minutes. When it is 10 a.m. in town A, the time in town B is 2 p.m. on the same day. Joe lives in town A and wishes to watch a live soccer game played in town B. The game commences at 11:30, town B local time, and lasts for 2 hours. What time will it be in town A when the game finishes? All right, so we have town A and town B. And when it's 10 a.m. here in town A, it is 2 p.m. in town B. All right, so that means that we have between them a 4-hour time difference. Joe lives in town A, wishes to watch the live soccer game played in town B. The game commences at 11:30 and lasts for 2 hours. And we want to know when the game finishes. All right, so because the game lasts for 2 hours, we're going to plus 2 hours. 1 hour gets us to 12:30, 2 hours gets us to 1:30 p.m. All right, and that's all town B's time. But we want to know when will it finish in town A's time, right? So we know that we're going to either have to plus or minus 4 hours to it to convert that 1:30 p.m. to town A's time. And now looking back at this, it's 2 p.m. here, it's 10 a.m. here. So we know it's going to be a minus 4 hours to get back to town A's time. And when we minus 4 hours from 1:30, so minus 1 hour gets us to 12:30, minus 2 hours gets us to 11:30, 10:30 is 3 hours, and then 9:30 is 4 hours. 9:30 a.m. is 4 hours. And also, if you look at these two times that they've given us, there's only a half-hour difference between these two. So we can just, sense check that we've given the right answer. So our right answer is it will be 9:30 a.m. in town A. In town A. When match finishes. And yeah, just sense checking, that's only a 30-minute difference from this 10 a.m. and it's a 30-minute difference from this 2 p.m. And so that we know we've got the answer right. So yep, 9:30 a.m. Singapore is 8 hours ahead of UTC and New York is 5 hours behind UTC. What is the time and day in Singapore when it is 9 p.m. Monday in New York? All right, so we have New York here, New York City, we have UTC in the middle, and we have Singapore on this side. All right, so if we think of UTC as 0, Singapore is plus 8 hours ahead, and New York is minus 5 hours behind UTC. What is the time of day in Singapore when it is 9 p.m. on Monday in New York? So it's 9 p.m. Monday here. All right, so what we want to do is we want to get to UTC time. So we are going to, we're going to add 5 hours to it. So it's minus 5 hours to go from, New York is 5 hours behind UTC time, right? So that means UTC is 5 hours ahead of New York City. So 9 p.m. plus 5 hours. If we plus 3 hours, we get to midnight, which is 12 a.m. And then plus another 2, and it's going to be 2 a.m. And that's going to be Tuesday, the next day in UTC. And then to get to Singapore time, we have to add another 8 hours here. So 2 a.m. plus 8 hours is going to be, it's going to be 10 a.m. on Tuesday in Singapore. Oh, and let me just blank out this question because we don't need that. So, yep, our answer is 2 a.m. Tuesday. Next, City A is in Sweden and is located at 58 North, 16 East. In Sydney, Australia, it's 33 South, 151 East. Robert lives in Sydney and needs to give an online presentation to his colleagues in City A starting at 5 p.m. Thursday local time in Sweden. What time and day in Sydney should Robert start his presentation? It is given that 15 degrees is a 1-hour time difference. Ignore daylight saving. Okay, so the first thing is we can actually ignore the north and the south part, and we just want to look at the east degrees, right? So we have Sweden here, and we have Sydney here. Sweden is 16 degrees east, and Sydney is 151 degrees east. So we want to find the difference between these two. That's going to give us the time difference. I think that's 151. Yeah. All right. So 151 take away 16. It's going to give us 135 degrees. And then we want to divide that by 15 to get the number divided by 15 to get the number of hours that time difference represents. So 135 divided by 15 is equal to 9. 9 hours time difference. Great. So now it's saying that the presentation, it's starting at 5 p.m. Thursday local time in Sweden. So we want to know when it's 5 p.m. Thursday, what time is it in Sydney? We know that there's going to be a 9-hour time difference. And we know that Sydney's going to be ahead of Sweden. So we're simply going to add that 9 hours to 5 p.m. on a Thursday. So when we add 7 hours, so plus 7 hours, that gets us to midnight, 12 a.m. on Friday. Okay. And then we add another 2 hours, plus 2 hours, to make it 9 hours, and that's going to get us to 2 a.m. on Friday. That's it. That's our answer. That is when the presentation should start. 2 a.m. on Friday. There we go. 2 a.m. on Friday. That's it.